Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Hey, Luana. Hey, baby. Hold on.
Hello.
I'm on two different things. I'm back. If the dog starts barking, I'll just talk amongst yourselves. I'll figure it out. I'll get rid of her. But anyway, hey, KB. How are you doing?
Uh, the Eagles are losing right now, so I'm
Oh,
not okay. I
y'all.
just had to turn off the TV.
KB is a diehard Eagles fan,
I
and
know.
the Eagles are losing right now, so she may be a little distracted. So,
Uh-oh.
whew,
Uh-oh.
yes, okay, yo, let's get into it. Black Cake. This was pretty good. This was good. This was good. It was a little slow at some points, but this show does that. So yeah, this was a good episode though because the sisters showed up. So let's start. Let's start here, and I'm gonna just I want to get an overall view because Tawana hasn't been here for a couple of weeks. What did you think? What do you think about the last couple of episodes, Tawana?
The last couple of episodes. So I've been listening to the book as well,
Oh, good.
right? So when the book got to the part about the sister, I was like, wait a minute. Are they going to show this during the episodes? Because sometimes, compared to the book or a movie or a series, they kind of leave out some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the book, when she mentioned that there was a sister, I was like, no, it couldn't have been from when she was assaulted.
Yeah.
I said maybe it was the husband who had, a child before they got together. Because, he left and went off to London.
Right.
Um, so that was a shocker. The last episode kind of refreshed my memory. Wait a minute, last episode. That's when they found out that they had a sister.
They found out they had a sister the episode before, and now this episode they meet the sister,
They
and also
meet the sister.
the,
Oh,
the sister
so
finds out she's adopted. She finds out she's
right.
black.
Yeah. So like I didn't think that she knew that she was adopted. I didn't get that. Like from like her parents
Mm-hmm.
when they were sitting down eating, um, and even like during her the taping of the cooking show, not the cooking show, but like the question, the
The
interview or
interview,
whatever.
right?
I didn't get that she knew that she was adopted.
I agree with you. I thought, okay, she knows that she's adopted, but and then we see her on this panel interview with the other chefs and the other I guess she's a
Hmm.
food anthropologist who talks about the history of food. And I said, oh,
Yeah,
clearly this woman doesn't know that she's adopted. She doesn't know that she's
yeah.
like, she doesn't know anything about her history. And we KB and I we kind of went back and forth about what she was saying during this interview, and
Hmm.
KB knew that she was totally insensitive, and I
Yeah,
understood what she was saying in the beginning, and then I said, "Oh no, girl, you're going down a rabbit hole. This is just stop while you're ahead. You don't know what you're talking
yeah,
about." So
yeah.
she was
She
like,
doesn't
"Well,
know her
it comes
history at
with
all.
different regions," and I was like, "Okay." After that, she lost me, and so
Yeah.
and her being just culturally insensitive to what she was talking about. So yeah,
Hmm.
so yeah,
Yeah.
so um,
Yeah. What did you think about that?
Huh?
What did you think about that conversation that she had about the food and
Oh, at the table,
yeah.
it,
mhm,
she didn't know what she was talking about. I
right,
mean, well, no. Okay, so wait. So she knew what she was talking about based on her life and the different foods that she's experienced, tasted, cooked, whatever. But um, like Crystal said, she was insensitive. You know, I think that if she knew her background, where she came from, I think she would have had a little more input on it. She would have been more aware of the things that she was saying. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So now she finds out that she's Black. She finds out that she's adopted. What did you think about her conversation with her mother, her adopted mother and father? Because I feel like the mother really didn't. Her mother was nice, but then at the same time, her mother got on her as well and talked about her lying to her son.
I think at the time when she went to her parents, she was still in shock
Yeah.
and hadn't like gotten it in her head like, oh, I'm adopted. Like, first of all, you find out when you're on a date, you find out through a phone call, right? There was no email introduction talking about, hey, you know, I'm the lawyer for X, Y, and Z. I need to speak with you. This is a very sensitive matter. I just think being told over the phone, hey, you're adopted and, you know, your birth mother left you some things or whatever, that's a total shock. It's
Right.
like you don't know where to go. So I just imagine like she's got all of these things swirling in her head, like I've been lied to my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm the only one in the family that has dark hair. I'm the only one with features like mine,
Right.
so to speak, or whatever. Um, and I just think the whole conversation between her and her parents was out of fear.
Hmm. I agree with
You
that.
know, because it's like, oh my God, nobody, why didn't anybody tell me this?
Yeah.
So now you've got all these questions and all of these emotions going on at the same time. So I just think it was a conversation out of fear and the daughter angry, and then the mother being, I guess, angry also and not trying to take accountability. Like the parents were focused on, look at the life we've given you.
Yeah.
You could have
Yeah.
still given me the same life, but let me know
Mhm.
my background, my history, where I've come from.
Yeah.
You let me go through my whole life thinking that I am of this family, and I'm not. I don't know
And
anything
also,
about, you know, my birth mom and my culture or her culture, you know. So I just think it was all out of fear
Yeah.
on both parties.
it was so interesting you say that it was out of fear. And the mother, I feel like her adopted mother, had no inclination to ever tell her that she was adopted. Because remember at
No.
the dinner table, she said, "Well, you know who you are. You know, oh, just forget about what those people are saying about you. You know who you are. You know where you came from." And then to find out an hour later that, or a day later, that she doesn't know who she is and she doesn't know where she came from, you know. So she had she was no inclination to tell her that she was adopted, that or where she came from or anything like that. So um that was a revelation for her, because now this 40-year-old woman has no idea who she is, you know, and she's also believes that she was absolutely living a lie. Okay, so and I wanted to go, I have a question for her too. So during the last episode, KB and I had a little debate, and I really thought, I said, there's something going on with Glenn Turman's character, this lawyer. And I wanted to know, and Tawana just stepped away. So, KB, when you saw this last episode with Glenn Turman's character, Mr. Mitch, and
Yes, there she is.
I said so. Okay, wait. Okay, first, KB, I'm gonna ask. Let me go to Tawana first because Tawana said, "What did you think? Did you ever think that there was something going on between Mr. Mitch and?" Because I know what I thought.
I I think something maybe on his end. I don't know so much of the mom. I think maybe because they were, as a couple, they were all good friends, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and I think, once the spouses passed, maybe the lawyer was looking at the mom a little differently, maybe out of loneliness. But the conversation that they had when she was doing one of her recordings, I was like this, like, oh no. I was like, don't do it.
I know.
Don't
Did
do
you
it.
think anything before that though?
Huh?
Did you think anything before that?
I thought like when she was first in the hospital. Because didn't he show up when she was in the hospital? No.
I thought it was just her and her son.
Oh, not in the TV show. Let me say that. It might have happened in the book, but not in the show.
Okay. So I thought so too, Tawana. I said, I agree with you. I said it's on Mr. Mitch's part, on the lawyer's part. I said he's got a thing for her, even if he's just the lawyer. And I know that lawyers, especially when they're dealing with the state and everything, they get close to the family. But I said there's something going on. There's some reason why he feels so close. Now he was his Coventina's Gibbs's business partner. And in the law firm, and so he's kept taking care of the estate. But I said he's attracted to her. He's always and could have been after their significant others passed away, but and he never really did anything about it. I don't know, but when I tell you, I said this, and I said to KB, I said there's something else going on with Mr. Mitch. There's some feelings about Mr. Mitch. So, and KB, what did you think?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead, KB.
Oh, I will admit that Crystal was right. Like Crystal was right. She saw it. She knew it. She's right about a lot of things. So yeah, she was right.
You know what I'm saying? But I was like, oh my God, this man wants to kiss this woman.
And maybe they have in the past, but like at this point with her, dying, knowing that she's dying, like I don't know, like there's really nothing to pursue.
Yeah.
Maybe just offer her some companionship at this point. I don't know. I mean, and just maybe he feels like he's close to her because they've just all been so close as a couple.
Yeah.
He may feel like, like, oh, well, I know this woman. I've known her husband, I know her kids. So he's comfortable.
And maybe he was just the keeper of the secrets. So he just felt like he was, no, I think that there was something. I think that there was some unrequited love there. So we opened it there, but then we also, that's when he was doing some recordings, but then we also opened with Byron getting arrested, right? And so shout out to, Byron getting arrested, and poor Byron, and a couple of shout outs I want to give, but poor Byron getting arrested because this man has never been in trouble. And the way that this was shot, I said, oh, they really did a good job with this, because you could feel that the heaviness of the scene. Like, this is a man that's never been in trouble, that really cares about who he is, and and cares about his character and his integrity, and he just it really weighed on him that this is what's happened to him.
Yeah.
So now I really want to talk about this conversation that Clementina / Eleanor and Gibbs had with their son. And Tawana, you are the mother of a son. What did you think about this conversation that they had with him? You know, he has his curfew is much earlier than everyone else's. He has to, go the straight and narrow, and everybody questions how smart he is, all of those things.
Mhm.
Think about that conversation.
I mean, it's always a tough conversation to have with your Black boys, because we all know that they can't do what everyone else does because they're
Right.
not looked the same. They're not looked at the same as everyone else, so it's always different rules that apply to us. And it's just tough. And I think at that age, it's hard for them to understand,
Mhm.
because at that age, they may see some things as black and white, but not everything as a black and white issue. They're thinking,
Right.
well, my friends get to do it. Why can't I? Or, why can't I, go riding in the car with my friends or whoever? Because if your friends do something stupid, your friends are not going to have the same repercussions that you are going to face, even though you may not be the one that's driving, you may not be the one that may have stole something.
Mhm.
So you can't do everything the same way that other people do. And then, we just have to hold ourselves to a higher standard
Right.
to be looked at as just a little bit equal. And it's just a tough conversation because that they're not going to understand it. So been there,
Mhm.
and it's not just a one and done conversation. It's something that you have to have continuously, right? Because they may find themselves in different situations. And the same thing goes for our girls too, you know?
That's,
So
that's very true. And same as you just said, for our girls, Black women are very much over sexualized. They're looked at it very much differently. So what did
mhm.
you think about this, baby? Because this was a really, and this peppered this conversation. This shows a mirror into now how Byron is as an adult as well. So what did you think, KB?
Um, so first with the girls conversation, it's you even have to have the police talk with Black women too. I will say I remember growing up, I had a car when I was in high school, and I would get pulled over because they would allege that somebody stole, like the car was reported stolen, even though it was a very cheap car. So I would constantly have to prove that I actually owned my car, even
Mhm.
though it was like a really cheap, very good car was $500. But people would claim that it was stolen. But so Tawana did a great job of discussing how you have to have that conversation with Black parents. I think the other thing that stuck out in that conversation was they brought him up in a neighborhood where he was the only one, and so that's another that's another aspect of his life, right? Is that he
Right.
goes to school in this environment where he's the only Black person. All of his friends, like he says, none of his friends look like him. Now he works at this job, none of his coworkers look like him, right? And so that's tough. I will say that as a person that grew up in a mixed neighborhood, there is safety in at least seeing people that look like you in the neighborhood, right? And so
Yeah.
he's constantly on edge because nobody looks like him.
And what also resonated is we just want you to come home. We just need you to come home. We just need you to be home safe tonight. They're like, it, just come home. You know, we telling you all of this. We're treating you like this because we want you to stay alive. And something that Tawana just said is that this is a constant conversation. This is not a one and done. So because every situation is different. You know, you got pulled over constantly because they always wanted to check your credentials. Why is a black woman or a black teen driving a car? And it doesn't matter if the car was cheap, doesn't matter, whatever. They're always going to, oh no, you must have stole this car. You couldn't possibly be this car owning this car. So it's a constant. My brother was pulled over 3 times for mistaken identity because he's 6'3" and black and dark skin. So that's just how it is. So you know, it's a constant conversation. So then he gets out of the Mr. Mitch bails him out of jail, and we find out that what's his name, that Steve does not press charges. And I knew immediately because Steve's got something up his sleeve. We're gonna see Steve again. But I really want to go to this panel. So I just feel like he was seething the whole time, but I don't think that he was going to go this way. I don't think that but he was constantly, I don't even know his new boss's name. I don't even care. But and plays the new boss. I said, oh, you're a good actor because I just want to punch you in your face. So I just
wait before we go there. Let me say. Okay. Wait, no, before we do with the Steven dropping the charges, because you said, did you know that he was going to drop the charges? Did you think that he was, or did you think it was going to go
on? That's a good question. At first, I said just to be an a-hole, Steve may. I think someone has it on twice. Just to be an a-hole, Steve may want to press charges just because it's Steve, just because he's a horrible person. But then I said, no, Steve is wildly insecure and he wants to get Benny back. So I don't think Steve's going to press charges. I just, in the end, before he got out of prison.
Yeah, I thought from last week that he was going to press charges and the video was going to come out.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm glad we went back before this panel. I didn't think Steve was going to press charges, but I also did think that this video was going to come out, though, because everybody has cameras. If this is present day, this man is being arrested. You've got more than one person had cameras across the street. So that is something. And I've been talking about the timelines of this show. The only thing that's really frustrating me is the timelines, but also just the little things. I thought to myself, why didn't this video come out?
Yeah.
So that is something that, before we get onto this panel, what did you guys think about the video not coming out? Because immediately I thought, and I think I yelled at Ed on our show last week, Byron, you just lost your job. Like, I immediately thought Byron was going to lose his job when he walks up there. I said, okay, so they're going to wait till he gets upstairs to say you lost your job. We saw the video. Like, why didn't his boss, somebody call him, say, we saw the video, you lost your job? So I definitely thought that he was fired after seeing that video. So what did you guys think about the video not coming out and everything, about the social media aspect?
I mean, I don't think, I think it's still going to come out. Oh, excuse me. And I think his counterpart, the person that, well, his now boss that he reports to, I think he's going to be the one that's going to see it and say something. I mean, I don't know. I just got that the way they were on the panel, I think he feels a little insecure when it comes to Byron. Is that his name, Byron?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he feels a little insecure when it comes to him, right? Because when he first took the microphone, he turned it towards him and and was answering the question or whatever. And then the next few questions afterwards were directed towards Byron. And I I feel like he felt like he was a better person to answer the question. And then Byron took the microphone and turned it towards him. I don't think that he liked that. I mean,
Go
I
ahead,
don't
Kate.
know, that's just me.
What did you think, KB?
I was surprised that the video didn't come out, but again, I don't know when the book was written, so I don't know if them videotaping it is an element for the show that wasn't also in the book, and but I was waiting for the video to come out.
Okay, so yes, I was waiting for the video to come out, but I definitely in my notes this panel with Tawana's explanation of his boss. His boss is wildly insecure, and his boss is just an a-hole. So his boss is a jerk, right? His boss and one I have several notes, but his boss kept taking the microphone away from him. His boss is constantly trying to prove himself. His boss knows that Byron deserved the promotion over him, so he's and his not just the taking of the microphone, you guys, but also him putting his hand around Byron and take our whatever project they're running right now, and all headed up by our guy Byron right here, and the smile and everything. And I said, that's absolutely placating. That's that was stuff like that your bosses will do in the office just to, I'm so proud of you and stuff like that, when they really know that they really that they're just trying to keep you around because they know that they don't know the job as well as you do. All of that I agree with because all of that just made this guy just more disgusting, right? And then when Byron is finally speaking up for himself, he keeps trying to take the microphone away. And then Byron pulls the microphone back, and then he pours himself a glass of water. I said, oh, this guy is about to really, he's going to get him. I said, he's going to get him good. But I also think the fact that Byron did this live and this was caught, Byron also interrupted the announcer, and how now on social media, everybody is seeing, how great he is. Thank you, Byron. I said, oh, Byron might get his promotion after all. You know what I'm saying? But I do like what Tamika said about I don't even know his boss's name. This guy right here being the one to put that video out about him being arrested. So that might be a great twist that it might happen. So,
yeah,
but I also
that video was viral. So now I take back what I said about because it might still come out.
It might still, absolutely. Yeah. It might still come out, and the boss might be the one to put it out because honestly, and then also during the dinner, you guys, he got a call from HR.
Yeah.
So remember, he got a call.
Yeah,
I was like,
HR said, give us a call or something when we want to talk about your experiences. So I will say, I feel like I've been Byron. Just so we're I feel like I've been Byron. I don't feel like the boss knows that Byron should have been promoted. I think it's one of those situations where it just was never an option in their mind that
Mm,
Byron. So it's not even like, oh, Byron deserves this. It's we're doing Byron a favor by hiring him,
right.
and look at what we let Byron do.
Mm,
And look, you
mm.
could be like Byron. Look at what we do. We did this for Byron. Like we're great. We're allies. Look at what we let Byron run a whole project.
We're
We let
diversified.
Byron- Yes.
Right. Okay, I see that from the just this episode with the panel, but remember when they first announced when it was Byron, the guy, this guy right here, and the CEO or whatever, I was like, this guy doesn't hold a candle to Byron. I think that he really knows.
No, he doesn't.
I feel like I thought when he brought them in at night to tell Byron you'll now be answering to him. I was like, Byron's been doing it for 10 years. I just feel like this guy knows that he does not deserve this position. But I agree with you on this panel section. Like, I do like our guy Byron right here. Look at, like, of course, not just white people need to be ocean engineers, and look at what we're doing for Byron and stuff. I do appreciate Byron's what he said though. He said, yes, I have a great job, but why? And he said so many things. He said it's traumatizing, it's stressful, it's lonely. And I was like, wow. I said, he's really handing it to him. He's really letting people know that this is not right, and things need to change. And then all of a sudden, the other panelists, they were only clapping because Byron was getting a standing ovation.
Yeah.
He said the institution doesn't see my face when hiring managers, directors, and CEOs.
Yes, that's why I'm saying I don't think that Byron was the option. I think that part was real. Like they never envisioned Byron being it wasn't even.
He was never a candidate.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, so well, look, we have Byron here. Look, you can do it too. We have Byron here. So yeah.
Yeah. So when Byron says they don't even like envision me, they never saw him being the boss.
Yeah.
Right.
It was never really.
We're diverse. We hired Byron. Yeah, we're diverse. But Byron's been working hard to get to this position for years. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. This was a pivotal moment for Byron because this transformation has been happening. Okay, so going back to this as well, he also he lost his girlfriend over this because, and we even talked about this, like there's other ways that he could stand up for himself, and this was a way for him to stand up for himself, but his girlfriend wanted him to just be loud and say, call them racist and all of those things. So what did you think that what did you think about that? Look, the fact that now his girlfriend, she hasn't come around when he was arrested, but maybe Benny didn't call her. Maybe she doesn't know because the video hasn't come out. And we haven't heard from her now either.
I mean, her being upset with him, for not for him not feeling the same way that she does, and maybe he does feel the same way, but he's not verbalizing it, because he's got a future to think about. He's doing something that he's dreamed of doing since he was a young kid, and he feels like he's got his dream job. Maybe he doesn't want to say too much to jeopardize it, although he may feel those things, but she's not in his shoes. So he's got to think about how he does things and the things that he says. So, I mean, I don't know if, yeah, she has every right to be upset, but it's just different for men. I don't know. Do I make sense? No.
You do. I just don't know if it's different for men. I would say because it's a technical field, the technical fields are some of the most racist, sexist environments that you will encounter, right? Just outright. And um, part of the problem, as a person that has been through it, is it's not, the grass isn't necessarily greener on the other side, because it's a breeding ground for that, right?
Right.
When I was in graduate school, I remember one of my professors outwardly saying, "Go ahead and report me. I have tenure. They're not going to do anything." And that's just like, it is what it is. So,
It is what it
you
is.
just, yeah. So if you operate on a, go ahead and report me, nothing's going to happen. He's probably experienced that. And the other problem is, like he says, and like he's been saying since episode 1, who's gonna come after him? Because
Who gonna
like,
check me, boo?
Right.
well, not even that. It's like, who, when the next Black person that comes into that job is probably in middle school right now, right? Because
You're right.
we aren't going into sciences for real. And
Right.
so that's the other part of it. It's like, he really is trying to diversify the field, and you see him going out to high schools and middle schools. And, you know, it's not like he's going to the college. Like, he has to start them off in middle school.
Right.
We don't go into those fields
To get them thinking about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's doing it his way.
Yeah. So it really, it is still an old boys club, and it's slowly changing now, but it's
Very
because
slow.
you really have to start from middle school.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even like college now. Yeah.
Right.
I watched this with my mother, and she was like, "Ooh, Lynette just walked out on him. She just walked out. Like, she didn't." And he really has been trying, but he's been doing it his way. And Byron's very non-confrontational. He's not. That's just not the way. One, we already know this was not the way he was raised. How to fight. This was not the way he was raised. How to move, to react. So her wanting him to just react is, I just feel like, ooh, I don't know that I would have just totally walked out on this man, but also because like he's also going through a death of his mother, like all kinds of, thinking
He's got
about
a bunch of emotions going on.
Exactly. I do see her point though. I did see her point. Like, no, you cannot go back to work. This is not right. But at the same time, and maybe he's very non-communicative, So
well, I have a question. Was she saying that he shouldn't go back to work right now because of everything that he's dealing with, like with the death of his mom and, having to listen to these recordings of his mom? Or was she saying that I don't think you should go back to work
Period.
just because they don't appreciate you or whatever? I thought it was because of everything that he was dealing with. Like, why are you going to be on this panel and, you're still dealing with the death of your mom?
Yeah, I don't think he should have done the panel, because at this time that we're in, at the time of the panel, he's on PTO. He should not have done the panel. He should have said no. I mean, obviously it worked out for him, the whole social media essence of it, but I don't think he should have done the panel.
Right. Okay.
But I think that also goes to him saying he did the panel because he has to, because there's nobody else to do it.
And to her point was, yeah, you are on family leave. You should not be doing this panel. You need to speak up for yourself and tell them no. That was, don't do this right now. Think about yourself. And I do agree with her. Like, he should be thinking about himself, and she was letting him know, that there's more important things than your job. But to him,
maybe he was thinking, when would I get this opportunity again?
And
Yeah.
also, there's never been ever anything other than the way he was raised by his father. The most important thing is work and is your job. So I just
Yeah.
felt
I
that.
don't think he thought that when I get the opportunity again, I think he really thought they don't have anybody else. Like he really is the only diverse person there. So
Yeah.
who else was going to do the diversity panel? Because if he wasn't there, it would be an all white panel.
Absolutely.
Right. Right.
And there
So
were different and to the point, there were different companies there. It wasn't just his company. So you have 4 different companies, and he's the only black person that they
Mhm.
get.
Yeah.
Only person of color, let me even put it that way, that
Right.
they could have at a diversity panel.
yeah. So he's the only one to do it. And so I am glad that now that he was able to do this, he actually spoke up. And this is the way he fights. This is the way he fought for himself. So okay, now I'll put it back. So then we get home and we see, oh gosh, do we want to talk about, and I don't have y'all, me and these pictures of Steve, there are not a lot of pictures. I have Steve with a clean face. I wanted to see Steve broken, with blood all over his face. So I don't have a picture of Steve. But Steve
fine.
shows, I know, that's fine. Steve shows up at the house. Steve shows up at the house and tries to get Benny back. So y'all talk about this. And did I think first? I'll say, you asked me, did you think that Steve was not gonna press charges? And I said yes. I did think. In the end, I thought about it, and I was like, he's not gonna press charges because he wants to get Benny back, and because we even said Benny's gonna go back to him. We thought Benny's gonna see his face all bloody and everything, and she's just gonna go back to him. But I said, this man, he really needs to feel like he needs to be in control. So I didn't think so. I said, oh, we're gonna see Steve again. So go, Tawana, what did you think when Steve showed up?
I was upset. Like you got a restraining order on him.
Yes.
Why are you going outside talking to this man? Like I don't get it. So then it makes me question what was her motive for getting the restraining order. Did she feel pressured by the police officer that was telling her to do the restraining order? Like, so what if he came by the house blowing a horn or ringing a doorbell? You have a restraining order on him. Why are you even talking to him? To me, that shows weakness.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. That just upset me. Like, what was the point? Like, did you really want to do the restraining order, or did you feel pressured to do it?
What did you think, KB?
Benny is exhausting. That's what I thought.
I
feel like Benny is exhausting. When I saw him come, I had the same thoughts when I was like, there's a restraining order. But then I thought, with the roller coaster that we've been on with Benny, I hoped and prayed that she wouldn't go out there and just be like, oh no, I take you back, and it was just to get my brother out. Or I had thought they were going to get back together because Benny is exhausting. That's it. That's my thought.
Last week, what did I say? I said, Benny is getting on my nerves.
You did say that.
I was like,
you did say that.
Okay. So this man shows up. She and I said, okay, she blocked him. I said, just totally block him. But I said, I knew he was going to show up. But then if you don't go outside the door, right? You go outside the door. Why don't you have a weapon with you? You have a restraining order against this man. Don't do it. And then she goes outside, and then just like a predator, just like these men that do this, or not just men, just like people that do this, he puts it back on her. He says, before he calls her a parasite, the last thing he calls her is a parasite. But before he says that, he's like, you don't have anything without me. You've never done anything in the last 6 years. what did he say? No, the first thing he said was, I said, I'm sorry. What else do you want me to say? How about don't beat me up? How about that? How about don't verbally abuse me? How about that? So, okay. And then he says, "Well, I've already sold the sculpture that you broke, and I've already got the advance from it. What are you going to do to pay that back?" And I said, "Okay, good for you, Benny." She said, "You pay it back. You'll figure it out. You always do." I said, "This man's already spent that money anyway." I said, "There's more going on here." I said, "I bet he's broke. He's all of those things, right?" And then she starts to think, then she starts to get all these sad eyes. And oh, what did I do? And oh my gosh, maybe I am nothing without him. And I said, "Girl, get back in that house. Don't let this man do
Yes.
this to you." And then he called her a parasite. I said, just leave. Just I said, this is what they do. This is the grooming process. If I'm such a parasite, why do you want me so bad? If I'm such a parasite, why do you you just want to control me?
Because he wants her to be dependent on him
Exactly
all the time.
Yeah.
So he makes things seem as though, oh, well, you did this. Now what are you going to do? How are you going to get out of it? Because he wants her to be like, oh, please help me.
right.
You know, I don't know what to do. I can't do this by myself. Please help me.
And I think the other part of it too is one of the major things that he had with Benny is her separation from her family, which a lot of abusers have, right? They separate you from people that love you and that care about you. And now they're not separated, right? Now they're acting like a real brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
He even said it to Byron, right? When Byron came, where were you? I was her family. I was there. So I think now he's lost that control, that separation control, which is a major part of it.
Uh-huh.
And he's probably spiraling, but also Benny's back and forth is exhausting.
So a couple of things that you just mentioned. One, Benny's transformation is a trip to me because, you know, in movies, the characters transform, right? They go from, you know, extremely likable and stuff like that. But her transformation was just so quick. That's why you just use the word exhausting, all right? And then you just had an epiphany. You said that the police officer, and so I want to give a real quick before we go on. Shout out to Mario Van Peebles. As soon as I saw him, I was like, Mario Van Peebles. So shout out, he is the son of Melvin Van Peebles, and Melvin Van Peebles is the original. Get your own seat to build your own table. Don't ever let somebody don't sit get your own seat at the table, create your own lane. So I just loved seeing Mario Van Peebles, and then and I was like, I said, did he direct this? Immediately when I saw him as the police officer, I was like, oh, he directed this. And I just thought he directed it, and of course I always watch the credits. But yes, so we know that Mario Van Peebles directed it, and as soon as hold on, y'all, I wanted to pull this real quick. But yeah, he directed it, and he directed this episode, we know. And I was like, even if it, hey, Lady in the Sun, yes, just that little, I just trying to get to the little piece of it, because as
He's
soon
66.
as yes, and look at him looking 40, look at him looking 45. I was like, okay. Mario Van Peebles. That's Mario Van Peebles and Melvin Van Peebles. And Melvin Van Peebles is the original Black exploitation movies. The Sweetback from 1973. So the fact that he directed that, as soon as I saw him, I was like, did he direct this? So yeah, he's 66 years old. And I was like, wow. As soon I was like, oh, so I was just shout out to Mario Van Peebles immediately as soon as I saw him, And yeah, but for you to say, and I said, we're probably going to see him again. And yes, he was looking good. He is 66 years old. Don't look a day over 45. I was like, what did you guys think? Did you immediately know that was Mario Van Peebles?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
I knew it was Mario Van Peebles immediately.
He's an icon.
He's an icon. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was so glad to see him on the screen. And I knew as soon as I saw it, I was like, I think he must have directed this episode at least. He didn't direct the whole season, but he definitely directed this episode. So
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Before this, we're on the directing. This is just a stylistic thing.
Okay.
Was this episode just filmed dark for anybody else besides me?
Say it again. I think.
Was the filming dark to anybody else besides me?
Yes, there are certain scenes that are very dark. That are very dark. And I gotta turn up the ISO. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. I also feel like sidebar, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, that was dark too. But yeah, like this was dark for me. And another thing I didn't like, just stylistically, are the text messages that Byron got. Because I kept on having to pause, put my glasses on, go up to the television to figure out what the text message. There was one that I was like, I'm not even doing it. I don't care. Whatever. I just got something on his phone.
It's funny that you said that because I think I wanted to get pictures of the text messages and I just like, you know what, forget it. So the first one, when he's sitting in the car and he's seeing all these messages from his coworkers and seeing all the Instagram posts and stuff like that, I was just like, you know what, forget it. I know that this is his job calling, forget it. And then the second text message that he gets when he's at the dinner table with the new sister and everything, I said, I gotta rewind this. Was that because they not only pictured it with him looking at the text message, but then when he turned the phone over, they held the camera on the phone. So I was like, there's a reason why. And that was Amy from HR. So I said, okay, there's a reason. So yeah, I put my contacts on too, and I looked. I said, okay, there's a reason why they want us to see these text messages. But going back to the darkness, filming him going into the prison and actually getting fingerprinted and everything, when I say that he did that on purpose, just to show the heaviness, the weight of this man has never been in trouble, and now his life could be over. He's lost his job, everything, right? And we immediately all saw when he's beating up Steve, and we see these cameras and everything. What did I say last week? This man lost his job, right? So just to see the heaviness and the weight of that. But there are some scenes when it's just the three of them, the brothers, Byron, Benny, and Mr. Mitch, the lawyer, where I'm like, it's just really dark in the house. Yeah. It's just it's very dark. But I also know I'm like, a lot of it's at night, but not all of it's at night. So yeah, there are some things that are just very dark. Some scenes that are dark. Yeah, you're right.
I have a question, and I don't know, maybe we'll get to it, but when Benny was cooking and Byron comes in the house, was she expecting Steve to walk through that door? Because she said something and then Benny was there. I can't remember what she said.
Did you cure racism?
Huh?
She said, because I watched it again, she said, did you cure racism? She said, how was the panel? Did you cure racism?
Oh, is that what she said?
Yes.
When she was cooking and okay. All right. I don't know why I thought she was saying something and expecting Steve to walk through.
Okay.
Because I had got mad for 10 seconds.
You know why? And I think the text message part is what's getting you as well, because Byron texted her, are you expecting Steve? Or did you call Steve? Because we saw the SUV, and Steve drives like a Jeep or a black. He drives some type of SUV. So he sees the SUV and he's like, he thinks that's Steve. And I thought it was Steve too.
Okay.
No, that's what I do like about this movie is the little pieces of tension that they give. Because when I saw Steve, I thought it was the black SUV drive up. when he drives up in the Tesla, I said, "Oh, Steve wants round two." I said, "Oh no, Brian, what are you doing?" So, but then come to find out, it's the sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did think it was. I thought it was Steve. So yeah, she said, "How was the panel? Did you cure racism?" Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But I think is what you're saying about it's a mix up because it's the text messages. It's the
Yeah.
maybe they need to pull the text messages. There's a way, and I don't remember what it's called now in script writing, where you pull the text messages to the top of the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and they just need to come up as pop-ups, not him looking at text messages.
Right.
Yeah. So okay, so next, so going to that scene, guess who's coming to dinner? Is Mabel Matilda Martin. So
Mabel
what did you
Matilda Martin.
Yeah, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this because Benny was literally a deer in headlights. Like she did not want to move. She did not want to move. So what did you think about this woman just showing up? Go ahead, KB.
I was shocked that she came, but I shouldn't have been, right? And also with the timeline, that's another thing with how you keep bringing that up. In her timeline, it's 24 hours after she got the call from the lawyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
That she just
Mhm.
got on this plane and just left. Again, with Benny being exhausting, Benny is still hung up on, oh, my mom always thought of, like, I thought it was competing with Byron, but it was always you. Like, it's a little dramatic, but whatever.
Very
And
dramatic.
yes, one thing that I said last week's episode was Benny knows, they all know that she's the child born out of SA.
Mhm.
And Benny is born out of a genuine love from Cubby's childhood love, like her very first love.
Right.
You can't compare the two. So I want her to stop being jealous of this imaginary thing that she has going on. I mean, maybe
Exactly.
it's up into something in the book, but I'm just like,
So
I don't feel like a child from SA is going to be the same as the child from your love, like your first love.
Right.
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
whole
that was-
scene- Benny, y'all, we've all talked about it. Benny kind of gets on our nerves. And Tawana, you've been reading the book, or you've been listening to the book, and we were watching another podcaster, LEB. She's like this in the book. We've been hearing, is she like this in the book as well? She's wildly insecure, and she truly believes that people should have checked on me and everything. So I actually want to go back to the dinner before Mr. Mitch shows up, Glenn Turman's character. They started to kind of bond over cooking. They started to bond over, they started to talk about cooking and everything. And so, and then what's her name? Mabel Martin. She just puts her hair behind her ear, and they both look at each other, and they're like, "That's so our mother. That's just like our mother," and everything. So I'm just like, Benny, relax. Just relax. So
Benny is exhausting her own self. She is tired of herself. Because I mean, it's like KB said, she's making her childhood out to be worse than what it truly was. Right? Like, I could see if Mabel was like, oh, woe is me. I never knew my birth mom. I was a product of SA. And Benny, you were a product of love. 2-parent household, grew up with your brother in the same house. Like, what? Why? What is it that you feel as though that you're missing that you didn't get? She's very exhausted.
something KB said last week is like it's always about her. Like if the story's not about her, then she's got to try to make it about her in some way.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's it's so obvious here.
I
So
mean,
now
from her sexuality, you know, who she was dating. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
it's okay.
Yeah, no, everything is about even. Okay, so bringing that back up, even her sister coming, right? Because in your lifetime, you believed that your mother was adopted. Then you find out that she wasn't adopted. You hear that she had to get sold off. Then you hear she was assaulted. She had this child. She gave that child up for adoption. And then you're like, that's why she didn't love me. I'm sorry. I'd be like, I can't believe my mom went through all of that. I can't,
Right.
it's like I haven't heard Benny say. Maybe I missed it. Maybe you heard Benny say something about like, oh wow, mom went through a lot, but I just didn't.
She ain't
hear
said it. She was like, oh, that's why, you know, she was always comparing me to the daughter she never got to raise. Girl, if you
Which
don't.
makes no sense.
No.
Right.
First of all, she didn't even want to give her up for adoption. She had
So
no
we're going back
choice.
to, okay, don't jump ahead. So finally, so we went and we Benny has to rant and rave. So before this, Benny says, "Well, you're black and okay." So she says Byron is an internet star right now because of everything that's going on, and then she says, "Well, and you're I guess a internet Karen right now." She calls her something specific, but something Karen, if you guys remember in the chat, but and she said, "Well, you can tell those people to F off because you're black and Chinese." And she says, "Well, it's been not a long time for me to adjust to that." And he says it's been 24 hours, which I'm like, okay, how long is the plane ride from Europe? Like KB said, this timeline was frustrating me because so Byron gets out of prison, then so I said, wait a minute. And then he does this panel the next day, and then that night, so they're really packing a lot into these 2 days in this episode. So then she sits there and she's like, "You all know something I don't know." And Mr. Mitch and I said, "Oh, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad. This is gonna be hard." Excuse me. He says, "Well, she left you a separate tape that she'd like for you to listen to." And she says, "Well, you all know something I don't know. So why don't you go ahead and say it?" And so she forces their hand a little bit, and it's a lot. So he says, "Well, my mother was in Scotland, and she was assaulted while she was in Scotland." I actually understand her reaction. Like this is a lot to hear. She was like, "You know what? I don't know how I'm going to even deal with this right now. I've got to leave. I've got to. I just don't want to hear anymore. I'm black. I'm adopted, and now I'm a product of a sexual assault. This was just way too much for her to hear. So I get it. What did you guys think of her reaction first, and then we'll go to her and Benny's conversation when Benny visited her at the hotel. So what did you guys think of her conversation, or her reaction to finding out about her birth?
I think her reaction is valid,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because she didn't know anything.
Right.
She just found out in all of her however old she's supposed to be that she was adopted.
Yeah.
So all of this is new to her. I mean, I think I would find it pretty hard for me to sit through hearing that news. First, I'm adopted, and my adoptive parents haven't told me anything. And then to find out that my birth mom has died and has left me a tape to listen to, and I have other siblings. So, I mean, I think her reaction, her feelings are valid.
Yeah. KB, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. The lady had said it was realistic, right?
It was very realistic.
Yeah, we so in this timeline, let's say it was 24 hours, 24, 48 hours. Let's go with that, being generous.
Right.
You find out that you are adopted, that you're not white, and that you are the product of an assault. That's a lot to process, and I think it was unrealistic and insensitive of the lawyer Byron and Benny to think that she could process all of that in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is mom got assaulted in Scotland. You're the child. Let's listen to this other tape. That's just too much, right? And I don't even know. Like, I don't know if I'm going ahead, but when she says like it's answering questions for you, it's bringing up questions for me. That's also very realistic because she had no idea. So it really is hard for her.
So to your point, I want to go back to this because they were like, well, she doesn't want to hear it anymore. Let's just move on with the tapes without her. I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. You guys made such a big deal of getting her out there and telling her the truth. And now you want to move on without her. This is a lot to process. Like, I was like, wait a minute, let's just stop. You know what I mean?
Right,
and
because Benny and Byron have had time to process the first few audio tapes that they've heard of their mom. This is all new for her. So like she's just being thrown into this.
Yes.
Yeah.
She has a whole lot to process. Her whole life.
And I want to go back to what Benny now Benny is like, again, her transformation happened very quickly, right? But something she said when I came here 6 years ago, nobody went after me. I said, one, that is not true. I said, everybody tried to come and get you. Everybody wanted you to come back home. Your mother called you all the time. And now she's finding out that her father went to visit her once a month. And she said, nobody tried hard enough. And I was like, girl, people try.
Girl, what did you want? What did you want? Skywriting?
Yes. No, she did.
Benny come home?
Benny come. So now Benny's like the one that comes and goes to visit her and brings her Jamaican food and wants to talk to her. And now Benny is the voice of reason, right? And so I was like, I just, maybe I'm just questioning her too much, but I'm just like, I just got really frustrated with Benny saying that nobody came to help to support me. And this is another thing, when Benny came and brought the woman home, the girlfriend said it takes time. It's not going to be done. It's not going to be automatic. And so it's going to take some time. And so when her parents didn't immediately accept her, and her mother even said in the beginning of the movie, when we hesitated. It was a hesitation. It wasn't, we don't like you, we don't accept you. And so I was like, wow, this transformation of Benny. Now Benny's going to rescue. So Benny shows up at the woman's hotel. And again.
Wait, can I say something? Because I have a very probably unpopular.
Okay.
I was on Dad's side. Because my thing is, I felt like they were welcoming to her girlfriend. Mm-hmm. The problem that I saw from the TV show, again, did not read the book, right? Is I'm paying for you to go to school and you're a waitress.
Oh, no. We're on that. I agree with you.
And I'm like, I don't see what the problem is. Because I'd be mad too. I would be mad too.
No.
I'm on the dance side. Like, running after you for what? Like, for what?
No, we agree. She kept creating new issues, right? So now I got a girlfriend. They don't accept me for my girlfriend. That's not why we don't accept you. And that's not why we're upset. We're upset because you keep bouncing from major to major, and you won't make a decision. And so you're calling
she dropped out of school to be a waitress.
To be a waitress. Like, I'm paying for this is my second school I'm paying for. And now you're a waitress? What? So I totally am on the dad's. No, I'm on the dad's side about that. Absolutely. That was ridiculous. And so she's not hearing. And that's another thing. She's not hearing other people. She's not hearing. She only hears what she wants to hear. I'm getting on.
Yeah.
But yes, I was like, girl, what is wrong with you? You can't keep bouncing around. But this is all her insecurities. And then now she's gotten with the guy that's violent with her and an abuser. And now he's working on those insecurities. So yeah, I'm absolutely on the dad side. Like, well, if you want to, why would you quit school to be a waitress? If you want to open up a diner, take some business classes, take some communication classes, open up your diner in 5 years. I'm all for entrepreneurship, but are you working towards that entrepreneurship? No. So that's it. So yeah. So where did you think, Tawana? Yeah, Tawana.
What is Benny going to school for?
I thought, okay, first she was going to school for culinary arts. But I thought that was the second major. That was the second school.
Yeah, she went to school for something at first, and then
At
she
first.
went to school for culinary arts, and then
And
she
then
dropped out.
dropped out.
And that was the argument, is that the dad was paying tuition for her to become a chef, and she dropped out of school to become a waitress.
Well, wait,
her-
does she want to be an artist? Does she want to be an artist?
I think so. I think that was the first one, and then she went to being a chef, and then she went to work as a waitress in this fancy restaurant where she was saying she was learning a lot from being the waitress at the restaurant.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'd be mad too.
Yeah.
Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle.
Because
Yes.
and I've always said this too, like even with school, you can always change, but you make a decision, and then you can always change, but start
So
somewhere.
let's get through something first.
Yeah, no, Benny is Lynn from Girlfriend. She's Lynn from Girlfriend. She's Tommy from Martin. She's all of these people that just in your regular day life would be frustrating.
Right.
That's Benny.
That is Benny.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely. So now, okay, we've established that, right? So now Benny goes off to get her newfound sister, and she meets her at the hotel, and now Benny's the voice of reason. So what did y'all think about this conversation? You guys, Benny goes and she to ask her sister to go to come back, and she brings Jamaican food. And I understand what the sister is saying. It's like, I'm so sorry, you've lost your mother. I don't know who your mother was. I really am sorry about this, but I don't even know who I am now. And now I also have to deal with the realization of my birth, and now really coming to terms with who my father is. So what did you think about that?
I'm sorry. I feel like Benny now feels like she has purpose. You know, like, oh, my sister is out there lost emotionally. Let me go to her because I too know how it feels to be in her shoes, so to speak. So I feel like, Benny's like, I'm the hero. I can relate to you. Benny, go sit down. Because I feel like you are tired of you.
Go ahead, KB.
Okay. Tawana, you made me think of something unrelated to this show. I was having a conversation with somebody, and they said that there's a personality type where they have to be the hero or the victim when they're talking about certain situations. And Benny is always the victim. And in this case, she becomes the hero. So yeah, she needed to be the hero. In her mind, she needed to be the hero of this moment. I feel so, for as exhausting as Benny is, she was the right person to have the conversation because Byron can't communicate and Byron doesn't have the patience. Byron's just like, let's just get through the case. He he doesn't see it in the other way. Benny's transformation came out of left field. I don't know where it came, like what happened. Um, but she was the right person to have the conversation, obviously. But it's just it's weird that it was Benny. And I think that the family, I think even with Benny having this conversation, I don't think that anybody else appreciates how much more, like how that creates more questions for her. And also, she brings up her son's father again, and how, she hasn't even told her son about the truth about his father. And then Benny asks, like, well, what is it? She's like, oh, it doesn't matter. And so clearly there's something there that we don't know about. And there must be something for real there, because this this Easter egg has been dropped in a couple of episodes now, right? So I don't know what is up with the son's father, but that clearly is a thing that she now has to question. Like, okay, my parents have been kept from me, and I'm doing the same thing to my son. And what will that do to my son?
Okay, I want to go over this. This was huge, Tawana, because
I have a quick question. So the son, so what's her name? Martha? Martha's husband died, right?
Mabel, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What is Martha's middle name?
We don't know if the husband, what she says is she met a man.
Matilda.
Yeah, she met a man, and I think they got married. I can't remember if they did, and he died. They did not say that it was the father. It was like,
that was my question. That was my question.
Yeah, no, I noticed that they specifically did not say, and that man was the father of my son. It was like, I met a man. I think they got married. I can't remember now. It was a couple episodes.
The way she described it, she met a man who introduced her to all of these foods or to all of these things. And then she got married. It feels like the man that the son's father may not be the man she married.
No.
That's what I got from it.
Right. And
then Tawana, before we get out of here, I want you to go over what your idea about Coventina's mother, but I don't let me forget. But I want to go back to this because Tawana brought up a good point about this victim mentality and this hero mentality. I agree with you, KB. Nobody else could get through to Mabel Matilda Martin but Benny, because Benny, the way she would have approached it would have been way different than Byron. So victim personality traits: feeling overly pessimistic about your future, feeling as though you are entitled to sympathy from others, feeling defensive no matter what other people say, feeling as though there is no point in looking for a solution, seeing people in black and white or good or bad. Those three in the middle, entitled to sympathy, defensive no matter what people say. When she left her girlfriend standing there, I was like, that's just plain rude. and among other things. And I was like, you're and feeling defensive no matter what other people say, because I'm like, your parents, they didn't say that. They did not say that. You've read into that. And there's no point in finding a solution. It is what it is, and that's it. I said, wow. So yeah, now she wants to be the hero, and she wants to be the one to save the day because she has purpose now. She didn't know what her purpose. She still doesn't know what her purpose is. She doesn't know. I think she likes cooking. Like, she likes this, but she still doesn't know what to do with it. Go ahead, keep going.
No, I mean, I agree. Like, now she just feels like, oh, now I'm the hero. Let me come save her. And now I'm sure she's going to feel like she has something in common with her newfound sister, because Benny likes to cook, but Matilda, is that a name?
Yes.
Whoever. Mary.
Mabel.
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 Mabel is an actual food critic chef. You know, right? Isn't she?
Yeah. Now Benny
Yeah.
feels like,
So-
oh, somebody I can like relate to, or oh,
She
somebody
can
I can
relate
actually have
to.
a conversation with.
But she could have been talking to people all along, but Benny just wanted
She absolutely.
Benny
Benny could be talking to people all along. Benny
Yeah.
could have been, she could have been making these, she could have been networking, making these connections the whole time. So now she's got all of these her hero traits with courage, determination. Now she wants to be all helpful. So I
Right.
absolutely agree with that. Like she's a whole different, her character has now changed to being much more reserved. Now she's just found her backbone. She's found a little bit of backbone with Steve, although we know Steve's coming back. Steve's coming back. Something about to happen with Steve again. Maybe we're gonna find him destitute on the street somewhere, hopefully, because
now she's got this hero complex. Let me save everyone.
Right. So so that's where so now Benny has brought them back brought her back to the house, and we listened to the recording, and the end where it ends is her father, what's her name, Coventina, says that I didn't want to get rid of you. I was made to. What did you think about how she described it? I know what I was thinking. I felt like, before you go, I felt like she had gone to the house for unwed mothers. All of the nuns are helping her, and it's almost like the train had already started moving. The train had already started moving, but at the same time, in my head, I'm like, so now that she's born and they see that she's not Black, or did they wait a week for her melanin to show up? And so did they already I'm like, so they have these parents, they're waiting. For a baby. They're looking for a baby. They want their baby they really want a baby, but they've already paid their money. Basically, she could have been sold.
I mean, that could have happened too, or it could have been a thing where they felt as though Coventine wasn't equipped to take care of a baby. She's a single mom, and they think her name is Eleanor.
Good point.
So was Eleanor Black? Eleanor was Black, right?
Yes, they're both from Jamaica.
Yeah.
But I think Eleanor was just from a different part of Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah, they were both like the same skin tone too.
Right.
Okay. So I don't know, maybe they thought, well, this Black child cannot possibly raise this white baby. I don't know. But then again, Crystal, maybe it's true what you said. These parents had been waiting. This couple had been waiting for a baby, and the nuns knew, like, okay, we've got a baby. She's going to be born this day. You guys need to be here at this time, whatever. And as soon as the baby was born, they took the baby away.
Oh, this is a white child. And so what is your idea, KB?
I think they took I think it's more like what you're saying, Crystal, because also looking into the timeline, we're in the 70s in England, right? So I think what probably happened is they probably just took the child and just like a married couple needs this baby, and we already set up this adoption, and that is something that was happening at the time. Like that the people would just come into places, give birth to children, and they would just give them up for adoption. And paperwork was, the paper trail, I should say, isn't as good as it is now.
Right. And I think that it sounds like a lot of unwed mothers, a lot of, back in the day, some of them didn't even see what their child looked like. They just had the baby and they took them off. But
Yeah.
it sounds like she saw what her daughter looked like. She saw that it was that she had a daughter, and she probably was there with her for at least a couple of days, at least maybe a week. Um and we all know black children don't get adopted as fast as white children. So I just feel like see, when she said that, I didn't want to give you up, and I because she's the product of an essay, and she was 19 at the time. So to me, I'm just like, she would have taken care of her. She would have taken care of her. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out. That she was just taken, and they had already paid for her, and they say, well, you're in luck. They said to Mabel's parents, you're in luck. A baby just became available like that. So, okay, and so that's where the show ends. But it's so interesting that we're talking about Coventine / Eleanor as a mother, because Tawana, you had an idea about where is Coventine's mother. What were you saying about?
Right. So my thought was, so you know how Coventine was given away to the man to marry to pay off her father's debts.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, did the same thing happen to her mom? Like the father could have been in debt and maybe promised his wife as a housekeeper to some family. And then they just happened to move away. Right? Because it doesn't say that she died. It doesn't say that she was sick or anything. It just said that she left.
Right. She left when she was 11.
Yeah, she left when Coventine was 11. So
what do you think about that?
That's my thing. As you can tell, I didn't get very far in the book, but go ahead.
What do you think about that, KB?
I don't think so. Like, okay, so I'm just gonna insert my own little life in this and my own experiences.
Yes.
I got the impression that the mom left probably to go to the UK or to the States. Like, I think she left. And part of the reason why I think that is because it happens a lot. But it's a very common thing, right? And even, for instance, Nicki Minaj's parents, they left Trinidad to go to New York, and they left her with people in Trinidad. So it's like it still happens that people leave to go to the UK or leave to go to the US, and then later on send for their kids. But I don't think that she sent for her. I think that there was something going on between the mom and the dad, especially with the dad's drinking and gambling and his money problems. So I think that she probably just left for the US or something. Well, yeah. So the key ones are the US, UK, and Canada.
We thought about that, and I did say that. I said, a lot of times they leave, and with the intention of coming back to get her daughter, right? But I think what Tawana's idea is interesting is because her mother leaving her with her father, who we know is a gambler and a drinker, right?
Right.
I just didn't get the impression that this woman would just leave and never come back, or did not want the best for her daughter, So I just felt like her father might have been into some shady stuff, and her father leaving, her mother leaving with the intention of coming back to get her, but we don't hear from her ever again. I was like, this woman, did she die immediately as soon as she got to London, or did her best friend didn't hear from her ever again? I thought that was just strange. And so the father might have been into some shady stuff and might have propositioned the mother like he propositioned the daughter when she was 16 and said, I'm not doing it, I'm leaving. And so she left. But then now she's never heard from her again. So I
was
do
thinking he might have also hit the mom.
say it again.
He might have also hit the mom.
He might
He
have
might have
became
been-
abusive.
Yeah, that's
With
what I think
alcohol.
that there were. Yeah, I think that there were problems between the mom and the dad, and the mom had to leave.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I think I think you have a point there too, that she might have just hit the he might have because his drinking got worse, the gambling got worse. She told him, you have to stop. You have to stop the gambling, you have to stop the drinking, you know, do better. And he said, okay, I'll do better, but he never was planning on doing better. So he's now drinking and everything. So now he's probably become abusive. And so she leaves, but to never be heard from again, I just felt like, I know that's one of his daughter. Okay.
Yeah, and at that time, it was socially acceptable to just hit your wife.
Say it again, KB.
I said at that time, it was socially acceptable to hit your wife.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but to never contact your child?
Yeah.
I mean, again, they never say whether she contacts her or not. We haven't gotten that far. And maybe the mother's best friend knows that she was trying to reach out to Covington. I don't know.
But I just wish we had heard more from the mother, because I just didn't get the impression that she was the type. And again, she was only in the first episode, but I just didn't get the impression that she was somebody to just leave her daughter without a word or without a letter or without something. So, but I agree with you that I was like, did she leave with the intention of coming back and just never came back?
No, but I think that's part of why she had her friend there. Right? I think she knew that she was leaving and she couldn't come back. And so she asked her friend to watch for Covey.
Yeah, but she wouldn't come back to get her child. I don't know. Interesting. Okay, y'all. Interesting. I'm hoping that we hear about what happens with the mother. But I know we're still wondering.
Yeah, no, I want to know what happened to the mother too.
Yeah, I want to know what happened to the mother, but I also want to know, we still don't know who poisoned Tawana, come back real quick, because I want to know we still don't know, and I think it doesn't come out until episode 8. My idea was that it was what's the girl's name? Pearl and her best friend. Bunny.
Wait.
Who poisoned? Who do you think poisoned?
The part. I'm sorry, we missed the part. We missed the conversation about Bunny in this episode.
Oh yeah. Okay. So going back, yes. Okay. So wait, yes. Okay. So, what's her name? Covington / Eleanor said that she reminded her so much of her best friend Bunny, and yes, this is a good part because I didn't think this either. So going back, Bunny slept with the swim instructor.
I can't remember if it was this one. It was one of the guys that liked her.
Yeah.
Oh, also, you guys, this was one of the dark parts. This was one of the parts.
Yeah.
But I know that so they're dancing and everything, and Bunny's already professed her love for Covington, and she's already, come out to Covington, but nobody else knows. And so she's like, just dance, just relax, just dance, just have a good time. While Covington is with Gibbs, Bunny and I actually think I have another picture of Gibbs. When she's with Gibbs, she knows, Bunny knows that the swim instructor likes her, right? So she starts to like, feel herself, starts to relax. And so she gives into that. And so she sleeps with the swim instructor. Did you guys expect that to happen?
No,
I didn't
I didn't
either.
expect it to happen.
I didn't.
I didn't either. I did think that maybe now we'll hear episodes later that maybe Bunny married the man and they've got 3 kids and then they got divorced or something like that. Now she's with a woman or something like that. I didn't expect that to happen. So yeah, what did you think about her conversation saying that Benny is a lot like Bunny? Go ahead, KB.
Um, it
Or
was a
Tawana.
stretch. Okay, it was a stretch for me. I will say. I feel like the only thing they have in common is them being lesbians. But other than that, no.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think that that's the only reason why. I think that's the only correlation
Yes.
that
That's the
she
only
sees
correlation. I agree.
between Bunny and her own child, Benny. And I don't know, maybe she, I don't know, maybe she feels like Bunny could be as free as Benny.
Because
You
I
know,
absolutely agree
her
that was the
sexuality.
only right, because of her
Yeah.
sexuality. So that's the only correlation, was her sexuality, because Bunny wasn't as free spirit as Coventine. Coventine was more of a free spirit. And so that's I feel like that's the only thing that kept her getting by, and that's what kept her going back and trying to see Gibbs. And that's what, because she was this free spirit, but she had to keep everything bottled in because she was hiding her identity.
Mhm.
Coventine was the free spirit. Bunny wasn't the free spirit. The only correlation was that connection. She was not like
Yeah.
that. And Lady in the Sun, it's so good that you're in the chat. She said, "My heart ached for Bunny. She was trying to cope with her feelings for Coventina. She was trying to cope with her feelings for Coventina. She was trying to cope for missing her friend. Like, and
Mhm.
she didn't have anybody after that."
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt bad because even at that party, we know that Benny likes Clementina, and I feel like even she's not flaunting her relationship with Gibbs, but it's like, you know that she likes you and you're going to openly be in this relationship with Gibbs in front of her. And just imagine if you had a crush on somebody and then and you tell them and then they show their new person. That's got to be heartbreaking, especially because she didn't know that Gibbs was going to show up. She thought she
No.
was just hanging out with Cubby, and next thing you know, there's Gibbs. And she's like, "Oh, you invited Gibbs and this guy." You know, so she wasn't very happy about it. So yeah, I think it for her to compare Bunny and Benny, right? And you even see like the names being kind of similar. She really didn't see Bunny. I feel like if you think that they're the same, you didn't see Bunny at all. You didn't know who Bunny was, and maybe you don't see Benny either, because the only thing they have in common
Was they're hiding their sexual. That was it. That's the only thing they had in common. And I also think that she didn't, but in that time she didn't see Bunny, but in that time, she was the free spirit. Bunny was always like, oh gosh, here's Gibbs again. Oh God, like she wanted to,
Yeah.
Bunny was kind of her shadow. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Besides her wanting to swim, we really didn't know anything else um about Bunny. You know what I mean? So, and I really think, but I agree though, at that time, in the when Bunny would first come out, she was trying to help her. She was trying to protect her. But at the
Yeah.
same time, why bring Gibbs, or not Gibbs, but the swim instructor, and I can't remember his name right now. I'll get his name. But why bring him? Yeah. Go ahead.
Well,
You want to?
I think that she brought him right because Bunny couldn't let anybody else know how she felt about Coventine.
Yeah, and
And because I remember her saying that you can't let anyone else know.
yeah. Also, I feel like even at the party, when they were dancing, I think she said you're going to have to be seen with a guy or something like that. I feel like she said,
She did
Yeah.
something
okay,
like that. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean, I guess back then
mm-hmm.
you couldn't be open about it.
Yeah, let
No.
people see.
So, I was gonna say one of the things that we talked about with the first episode, whatever episode it was when she came out. One of the things that I said is that the Caribbean is south of the South. So whatever you think of the South, the Caribbean is south of the South, right?
Okay.
And so in Trinidad, and Trinidad was one of the first islands to do so, it just became like sodomy just came off of the books in 2015. So it just became legal to be gay. Otherwise, being gay was illegal, right? And when Trinidad did it, a lot of the islands were saying that we were going to go to hell because like it's a sin, and how could you make this legal? It's against God and all this. So if that's how people felt in 2015, in 1970, whatever, she was definitely going to die.
Right, absolutely. Like there was just no way. And but I didn't get, and I'm glad she kind of explained it in this episode, because last episode she said that she was making Bunny hide herself from the world. And I was like, all you were just telling her to hide herself right now. Don't say anything right now. But now we see more in these retrospectives that she's been doing this for, this whole time, until, of course, until the wedding and everything, that she's been saying you're gonna have to be seen with a guy, like put yourself out there more,
Yeah.
do these things more, because you're gonna be killed. Yeah. So yeah, and she would have been, and so she's trying to save her life. So I do remember her at the beach telling her, go dance with him. Like, you know what I mean? So she was really pushing her to do so, you know. So, and that, it was sad. It was sad. Like Lady in the Sun said, I was like, oh, poor. But listen, I did not expect her to sleep with the guy, and he even respected her. He even said, "Are you sure about this?"
Yeah.
So, ooh, yeah. So we're gonna be seeing. So there's a lot to uncover. I actually, y'all, I'm really glad about this, because I thought this was only gonna be like 6 to 8 episodes. It looks like there's more coming out. So this is becoming a really good series. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of the series so far? We'll end it here.
I like it.
I like it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I like it is because it is true to life. It is true to, like, there are people in our lives, and I think I said this before, that there are people that just are happier in the chaos. I want to go back to our friend. Just they're not happy unless things are going crashing down around them. And
Mm-hmm.
with our friend Benny, because it doesn't have to be like this, and
Right.
so yeah, and there are people that have to hide their identity, and and we all know, as Black men, they have to be a different person. They have to, you know, um, hold everything in, as Coventine/Eleanor told her son years ago. So this is a regular Black family, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I like it.
So
So
I like
yeah,
it, and I like that. Obviously, it's fictional, but there's enough things that are
True.
based in history for it to go down. Like that whole see when they're back in Jamaica and you have the cultural context of it, minus the people have never seen a Chinese person before, which we already went over. Like those things are real. And so I watched this episode with my mother, and I pointed out to my mom that she is actually the same age as Covey. I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
mom, do you realize that?" Because I want to say she was born in the 50s, but then got married and like however the timeline is. And watching that show, my mom is the same age as Covey in that show. And one thing I wanted to bring up too was with the relationship between Covey and Glenn Turner's character. Glenn Turner had like his character, and because we don't even know what his name is, but we just know Glenn Turner. He's talking about this, like, oh, everyone's gone and everyone's left, and if you even think about him, like I was just like, think about everybody that he's worked with and that he's been around and that are gone. Like at one point he was married to Aretha Franklin and she's gone. And it's like everybody that we knew from a different world, and everybody like people are just gone. All the people that we grew up with as kids are gone, or they're going. So that's got to be hard for him to be one of the few that are remaining.
I have to say this though, and I want to go to Lady in the Sun's comment right here, but he is having a resurgence. If you guys have seen Rustin on, I'm trying to go to Glenn Tarman's picture, because it's almost like now that they're older, they're having like a resurgence of of roles now. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're right that a lot of people are either gone or going, but now he's having a resurgence of roles. It's almost like they're coming back to life after years.
Yeah.
It's just like Cheryl Lee Ralph, and just like a lot of people. And the age of someone winning an award is actually between, I think they said 51 to 60, and Shirley Ralph is 65. So 51 to 71. So like they're having a resurgence now. You're right. They're either gone or going, but it's so interesting of the resurgence of actors that are still that are huge and really making an impact. You know what I mean? So yeah, I do see your point, but I also am like, wow, you know, um there are more roles now, coming up that and or people are seeing them in different light. Oh, this person could play that role, you know. So it's really interesting. But I do want to go. So Lady in the Sun said something. She said, overall, I'm having more difficult time in relaxing into the OWN network's adaptation of the book into the series, but I'm enjoying it more than I did reading the book. That's interesting because, okay, so Tawana, you're listening to the book as well, but I do like your point because sometimes I feel like the OWN network, how do I say this? Uh, I don't want to say take shortcuts, but it's sometimes it's hard to piece things together. I might be saying that differently, wrong, but yeah. But I like the fact that they're putting emphasis on specific things that we need to know. They're putting the right emphasis on specific things. You know what I mean? So, but I also know that a lot of times people will, and this is just in production and directing. So you get something from a look that doesn't have to be said into words. Like I was talking about Byron getting arrested. I could tell how deep that was, how strong that was without words. So I think that a lot of times people take those liberties, and I think that that's what That's what a lot of people are doing now without a lot of commentary. So that's what I noticed. So I'm actually going to start to read the book without reading the book. So yeah, what do you think, KB? Is KB frozen?
I'm here. I'm unmuting myself. Like, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Um. Yeah, I feel like I I don't want to compare it to the book, so I'm gonna hold off. Like, I'll probably watch this and then go back to the book.
Right.
But I started without the book, and I don't want to do that. And oftentimes I'm a person that reads the book first and then goes to watch it. But I think I like the suspense of not knowing what's happening week to week, especially because I'm watching it with other people. I'd rather not know.
I agree with that. I agree with that. No, because I said, okay, after I watch this, I will read the book because I want to know what what changes, what was different. Like, oh gosh. Yeah, I know for a fact, like for instance, the movie Precious, I read the book first and then I watched the
Um,
movie and I know that was years ago. The book was much worse. This woman was basically tortured. So it was much worse than the movie. So you know what I mean? So there are parts in the book that may have had more emphasis, or maybe she stayed a little longer in Scotland than and things like that. And maybe these time jumps that we're talking about will be explained in the book. So that's interesting. So yeah, and Lady in the Sun talked about like Queen Sugar adapting. So it may be because I'm comparing it to Queen Sugar, the book into the series.
okay.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
agree.
I don't watch a lot of those own movies, so that's probably
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, because and I think that sometimes with the books, there'll be these time jumps and these just different things will probably be explained a little bit better. So yeah, so that's it, you guys. We're gonna be next Sunday, same time, same place. I'm really interested to know what happened to her, how she was forced to give the baby away. I want to know what happens to Byron at the job because he is literally now he's avoiding. He doesn't even want to talk to him, and I don't blame him. I'm like, now. So now he's purposefully avoiding these people at the job, and I really want to know what they say, what HR says to him. I want to know when this video comes out about him getting arrested, all of the things. I'm just surprised it didn't come out immediately, or these people didn't go live. So the social media aspect um, was interesting to me. Why didn't it? Why didn't that come out? Yeah, that's it. Well, next time, probably between 6 and 6:30, you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll be back next week.